Hope everybody's having a great new year. Today I'm coming to you in front of a live studio audience. We're going to start making a party up here. So any of my friends that want to come up here and start watching the pre-party or the pre-show, you're more than welcome to come out here. Today we've got someone coming in. He's an oral surgeon. I don't even know what that means. But Dr. Mark Hardison, he's a good-looking little guy. He's very fit. We're going to ask him a lot of questions. Really, we're going to talk about his journey because I don't know a lot about the guy. I don't even know what an oral surgeon is. My good friend Lisa, what is an oral surgeon? Lisa, what'd you say it is?
Surgery on the mouth.
Surgery on the mouth. So I guess they're a little bit different from a dentist, I'm assuming, right? And we did have some Facebook questions. A local dentist wanted to know why he didn't refer more patients to him. I can't think of some of the other questions, but if anybody's watching right now on Periscope, you're more than welcome to send us in a question. So Dr. Mark Hardison will be with us in about 10 to 15 minutes. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Thank you for tuning in. Hey guys, welcome back to segment 2 of my hometown, our Boomtown, with me, Good Time Tommy, and my new best friend today, Dr. Mark Hardison. Doc, thank you for coming on here.
Good to be here, Tommy.
Have you ever been in front of such a big audience before?
You know, I haven't, especially not behind a camera, so.
Well, we're going to keep building this puppy organically with all my best friends. One day we're going to have like hundreds of people up here. We're going to have a great time. To start off our show, this is very conversational. So I'm just going to ask my new favorite doctor some questions. And really what I want to start with is, today is what is today? January the 12th or something? 2016?
13th.
The 13th, somewhere around in there. So let's move back to like your childhood, and I don't know what your father, I guess you can get into your whole story about how all this happened, but I guess I'd like to know your story, your journey. Tell us. We want to know. Everybody here wants to hear this.
Okay, well, Tommy, first off, I appreciate you having me here.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, and I'm a hometown guy. I grew up here. I went to Mitchell Nelson, I went to Central Middle, I went to Riverdale High School, and then I went off for a few years to get educated. Did my dental school training, undergrad in Knoxville. Then I did oral surgery back in a residency program at UT Medical Center, and then lo and behold, I ended up moving back to my hometown. And so I've been here since the year 2000. My dad actually started the practice in 1966. And so we left, or I left, and then I came back to the practice in the year 2000. And since then, actually, we've grown quite a bit. My dad is retired, and we've brought in actually 2 new associates to our practice just because the growth has been so.
We're going to get into
so
that
big,
growth a little bit later. I'm sorry. I got a bad habit about interrupting everybody. I got to get better at this.
Man, you interrupt me.
So I want to know this. What is the process to become an oral surgeon? I mean, it's not, do you go to dental? I heard, do you go to medical school?
Well, that's a good question. Actually, you go 4 years of undergrad in college. So you would say, you know, I went to UT Knoxville. So I got my undergraduate degree in zoology.
What is zoology? Is that?
Well, that's probably another question for another day. But I was either going to be a park ranger or an oral surgeon, if that helps answer the question.
Sense, yeah.
And then I went to dental school for 4 years. And then at that point, you apply to a residency program. Just like in medical school, you would go to medical school for 4 years, and then you become an orthopedic surgeon or a dermatologist. So for me, there's oral surgery, there's periodontics, there's orthodontics. So I became an oral surgeon and went to an oral surgery residency. Some will actually get their medical degree as a part of their residency program.
So how many years? It took me 5.5 years to get my undergraduate degree, so I'm assuming it took you that long, right?
Well, actually,
you're smarter than me, so you did it in 4. Okay.
No, I was under the gun to get done. So.
Okay, so 4 in just regular zoology degree. Then you went to another
4 years of dental school.
To dental school.
Yeah.
Now, in dental school, do you have to decide if you're going to be a dentist? What's the difference for the people out there like me that don't really know the difference between an oral surgeon and a dentist? What's the specialty difference?
I use the example of a general dentist being your general contractor. So they oversee the project. They oversee your dental health. You're going to get your cleanings. You're going to get a filling. We don't say fillings, but an amalgam or a composite. You would repair teeth. You might have a crown done. Mm-hmm. That's what your general dentist is going to do. An oral surgeon is going to do things like wisdom teeth, dental implants, things that require more surgical skill in that area. We're specialized to do only that.
Now, when did you make that decision that you were going to go into the saw guy? Get out the cutter, cut man.
Well, actually, I'd been exposed to it my whole life. My dad obviously did it. But for me, it had to be more than that. And I saw oral surgery as really an opportunity to do more than just dentistry. I could, through medical missions, a lot of what you're doing is dental extractions. There's a lot of things we're doing within the local community through interfaith dental clinic and through some inner city mission work we're doing. So that was going to allow me to do that aspect of my business as well.
Tell us about that. What is that? See, I get sidetracked, and I'm sorry if I get you off your game a little bit, because you might say something that I want to know more about. So what is this stuff you're doing?
Well, we have our day-to-day work. I have a practice in the building next door, and we do all the procedures that we do. But there's a lot of folks out there in the community, and we usually say, Judea, Samaria, and the ends of the earth. So we want to take oral surgery to areas that don't have they don't have the resources to have this level of care done. So we go into inner city Murfreesboro. We actually were going to Haiti in a couple weeks to do some work, and so that's kind of what we're doing outside of just our normal practice.
Now, what about the insurance for these people? How does all that stuff work when you're going into inner city, like in Murfreesboro? How do you?
Well, we don't really worry about that to a degree. We work a lot with the St. Louis Clinic, which is affiliated with the hospital here. Okay. And they do a lot of screening on the patients to see who kind of fits the criteria to have dental work done. But a lot of those folks don't have any insurance. A lot of people kind of fall through the gaps. And, our purpose in that role is just to take care of, folks and not really worry about that aspect of it. So.
Okay, so going back into, let's get back into those wild college days of yours. Mm-hmm. So did you know for sure this was going to be something, the oral surgeon part, or did you know if you would want to be a dentist? Did you tell me what you were going through mentally during that part when you were mapping out the next 50 years of your life, 70 years of your life?
Well, it really you have to enjoy dentistry, because as an oral surgeon, we're a dental specialist. And we're a dentist, and so we have to enjoy dentistry as a whole. And so oral surgery is just an aspect of dentistry. If I use that contractor model, we're a subcontractor. We have one small role in the overall treatment plan. And as oral surgeons, really, we're kind of the ER for the dental world. There's no dentist in a hospital ER, so you're seeing a medical doctor for a tooth problem. And so we've really built a system to take care of folks after hours and on weekends, because emergencies aren't defined by 8 to 5. You can have an emergency in the middle of the night. Well, what are you going to do? So if you go to an emergency room, you're going to see a medical doctor who really doesn't have any training on teeth and dental problems.
But do you guys have set hours? Are you on call all night? Or
well, we have traditional hours that are listed. We 7 to 7 multiple days of the week is kind of where we run things. We try to. We actually did some surveying of patients and of our referrals, and what we found was that people were having a harder time getting off from work. We would see grandma come in for the consult, and we'd see mom come in for the procedure. And in order to accommodate these folks, we do what's called same-day oral surgery, which allows people to, in one day, have their consultation and their surgery done, whereas traditionally that was done on 2 separate days. So now...
these people that are walking into their consultation, do they know, hey, I might be having surgery this day? Or?
Yes. Well, and we've got the systems and the processes in place where when they call, they know, and we get a lot of their medical records and histories ahead of time so that they're able to get their their consultation and their procedure done on the same day.
So you got into your own, or into the family practice 2000?
2000.
2000. Have you seen a lot of changes since 2000 to 2016?
Yeah. Well, I think technology is one thing. Technology's affected everything from our cell phones to whatever. So in dentistry, it's done the same thing. I think technology's really changed a lot. Also, just the community I live in. People say you move back to your hometown. I'm like,
my hometown, our Boomtown.
That's right. It is definitely my hometown. There are streets that I'm familiar with, but this is not the place I grew up in a good way. I think it's grown in a positive way.
So, is there anything that you like to personally specialize in? We're getting off track. I was wanting to say more on our younger days. So a lot of these questions we're gonna get to in our next segment. So let me scratch that question, and I want to focus more back on our early days before we move on. So when you say UT, were you always in Knoxville or some of those campuses?
Yeah.
Located, like Shane Reeves, he went to UT Knoxville or UT, but he went to Memphis or something.
Yeah, he went to Memphis. Well, UT covers a lot of areas. There's UT Knoxville, there's UT Chattanooga, there's UT Memphis, there's UT Martin, and so each campus has a different role. I did my undergraduate degree at UT Knoxville, which is like going to MTSU or any other four-year school. And so all the medical facilities for UT are in Memphis. So if you want to do pharmacy, medicine, dentistry, physical therapy, there's all that as a part of the UT system in Memphis.
Did you go to, so you had to go back to, so you went from Knoxville
to Memphis. And then I did my oral surgery residency at UT Medical Center back in Knoxville. So I kind of zigzag back and forth.
What is that like when you're going through the residency? Is that no different than like a heart doctor or something? So is that, tell us what that is.
Yeah, a residency is it's more specialized training. The program I went to took 1 year. So there was a 4-year training program, and there was one of us a year. And they're hospital based, so you're doing clinical work like I do every day now, but you're also affiliated with the hospital, so you're seeing all the car wrecks and bar fights and infections and all the emergency room stuff that's a part of kind of what we do. So
1 a year. So it's very competitive to get into this, or do you have to do you have to have a great resume? Is it all about your grades? How was one person? How were you the lucky one to get in there?
Well, that's a great question. You probably have to ask the guy that interviewed me, but it is a pretty competitive specialty. And I was fortunate enough to get in. I think grades are a part of it. I think your interview's a part of it. So that's, yeah.
Okay, we're going to wrap this up and go into our next segment and talk more about the business that you're in today. But before we do that, is there anything we haven't highlighted that you would like to add about your earlier days before you got to this point?
No, I think you asked all the questions. Really, I left my hometown not really thinking or knowing I would come back. And since I have come back, I love it here. I couldn't imagine living anywhere else. And it's so neat to be out in the community and also just in my office and to see people I grew up with actually coming into my office. I've actually worked on former teachers. And it's humbling for me to see them come in knowing who I was as a little kid. And they actually have a trust level with us to actually work on them. So it's been great moving back here, and I'm really glad I'm here.
Okay. Well, guys, we're going to wrap up segment 2. We're going to come back with segment 3, and we're going to pick up with Dr. Hardison, where he is today, what's going on in his life. I think you guys have some new growth opportunities coming up. We'll get into that. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hey, guys, welcome back. Segment 3, my hometown, our Boomtown, with me, Good Time Tommy, Murfreesboro's favorite realtor. We're gonna come back in this segment, and we're gonna talk a little bit about Dr. Hardison's business, and we're probably even going to go into some of his personal beliefs. So, if someone were to ask you, Doctor, what is unique about your practice? How would you educate? How would you tell people what your little secret sauce is that makes you guys special over there?
Yeah, I think what makes us unique is really 2 or 3 things. One, and as I mentioned earlier, we tried to ask the patient what they want. I mean, I can have a lot of great ideas and thoughts, but if it's not really what they want or what our referrals want, it really doesn't benefit anybody. And so when we Go ahead.
What if what they want is not what's best for them? How would you handle
Well,
that? Like, I don't want you digging in my wisdom teeth. I like them. I don't want to go through. What would you say?
Well, we always say we educate before we medicate.
Ooh.
So, you like that?
I do like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think part of my role, with the internet and everything that's out there these days, a lot of patients are a lot more educated than they were.
They've come in, diagnosed them, WebMD.
Well,
Google.
yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, but I think that's good to a degree because they have a working knowledge of what they're getting into. And I think it's part of my role to make sure they understand all aspects of it before we actually treat. So that's one of the things that we try to do on that end.
So what else? Like, I guess you guys, I've heard, are y'all growing? Tell me about your growth. Tell me everything that's going on. Are you going into another location?
Yes, we are. We're actually opening.
Hey, is this public knowledge? Should we
It is public knowledge.
It is public? Okay.
It's fully public.
Okay.
Yeah, we're opening up a Smyrna office February 15th. There was such a great demand in that area of Rutherford County, and we saw a lot of patients from Smyrna. And it's funny because growing up here, people from Smyrna were kind of like people from Murfreesboro. We would drive for treatment. We would go where we needed to go. Now Smyrna people kind of like, they don't like leaving town. So we felt like if we put something there, we'll be right across from Stonecrest Hospital.
Okay.
It'll just better serve people of North Rutherford County.
Is that something you'll have to work at both places, or are you creating a scalable model where you've attracted other, I guess, oral surgeons to come there?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
in fact, we just brought in a new associate who finished at Vanderbilt, Dr. Brad Llewellyn. And so between he, Dr. Jeff Warden, who's in our practice, and myself, we will split time in Smyrna at that office. So we want to keep our processes the same, how we treat patients, how we're able to treat kids, how we treat adults, the weekend call model we have, that will all be available in Smyrna at that office.
So when you were talking earlier about your special processes where it's the same day consultation and surgery, are other people doing that, or is that just something that you guys have started doing?
I'm not aware of that. Again, it's one thing to say we can do whatever. It's a whole other thing when you have the processes in place. And I think what that means is my staff, our employees, our hours that we're available, and that's kind of what I was touching on earlier, our hours that were available kind of met the needs of what the patients wanted. And they wanted appointments before 8 o'clock. They wanted appointments after 5 o'clock. And they wanted to know, if I have a problem, who am I going to call? And we saw a few patients that they had issues with something their general dentist had done, went to the emergency room and had a $1,000 ER bill, didn't really get treated. They were given antibiotics and told to follow with, one of us on Monday. And I thought, well, if this were my family member, if this were my daughter, if this were my wife, if this were my mother, how would I want them treated? Well, if you're having an abscess, you need to be treated over the weekend. And so we have our staff, we have available on-call teams on weekends where we can come in and actually treat folks that are a part of our referring circle of practices.
Then I guess other dentists pretty much do that. So
yeah, well, the way that would work is just if, let's say you had a root canal done on Friday at your general dentist office and you had a problem over the weekend that needed our services. So the general dentist in the past would go, well, we'll put you on antibiotics. You can call your oral surgeon on Monday. Well, now what you can do is you just call our office and we have our on-call team available. We'll actually meet you at the office and treat the problem if that's what's required over the weekend.
So a general dentist can do a root canal? Is that something?
Yeah, general dentistry is, like anything in healthcare, it's what your comfort level is. And you'll find some general dentists do everything and some refer everything out.
So some dentists do what you do?
Some general dentists, will actually take teeth out and, do certain types of oral surgical work. But at the end of the day, 4 years in a residency program, we're available for whatever the dentists need. So
does a dentist have to go all the schooling you do, or just a surgeon?
No. When you finish your 4 years of dental school, you're able to hang your shingle and be a general dentist.
Okay.
So after 4 years, we're all general dentists, and then those of us that specialize go on for however many years.
Let's talk about the old days, like the 50s and 60s. Back in those days, it appears this has become a lot more specialized, I'm assuming. So back in those days, would you just go see your dentist and they'd take care of everything? Did they have to go to the residency? Or?
Well, it was sort of whatever the need was. You kind of, your old county country doc, you had your old country dentist. They did everything because there just wasn't the resources available. Now, obviously, Murfreesboro is a part of Greater Nashville, and so I think the level of care goes up. Now, you will find people that will do a little bit of everything, but as this community has grown, the need for specialists in that area has gone up. So I'm sure in your smaller Giles County, your rural areas, you're probably going to find some docs that do a little bit of everything. But as you get into your bigger cities, that just doesn't happen.
I've got these things just pop up in my mind, but now I study a lot of diseases, heart disease, and I'm hearing how your gums or your teeth is a sign of heart disease. Is that a question you can answer, or that's just for I'm selfish today. I'm sorry.
Well, obviously, heart disease is a very complex issue, and that's something a cardiologist could speak on way more than I could. But I know from a dental perspective, a lot of the bacteria that are in your mouth can be connected to heart disease, and the failure to adequately have good oral hygiene can lead to some levels of heart disease.
How often should we see our dentist? Once a year? Once every 6 months?
It's a good idea. Just every 6 months, I think, is the routine, and that's just for maintenance. And I think if you're doing that every 6 months, then the bigger issues won't be so big.
How can we prepare? Do we need to floss twice a day, once a day? How often do you recommend brushing and flossing?
Golly. Well, at least after each meal.
Floss after every meal?
Well, I mean, it just depends on how aggressive you want to be. I think definitely at the end of the day you want to floss, just to because you're eating food all day. And so as much as you want that toothbrush to do what you want it to, it's not going to be able to do really everything. So flossing really will help that. It will help with gum disease.
What about the water picks or those little things? Is that as good?
I always compare a water pick. It's like if you take your pickup truck and you go out and you go mudding in your pickup truck. You can spray that truck down with that fire hose, but you're going to have that thin layer of mud that just needs a sponge. You need to get in there and kind of wipe it off. And so your teeth are the same way. You can rinse all day long, but ultimately you kind of need to take a brush and keep your teeth clean that way.
I've got to do better at that.
Yeah.
Let's merge a little bit about what's going on with work into your personal life. How you're married?
Yes, married.
Kids?
2 kids. Yeah.
2 kids. Now, tell us what's going on. Is your family involved in some of these things that you've got going on in the other parts of the world? Tell us a little bit about what's going on with what's important to you personally with work.
Yeah. Well, yes, I try to involve my family in everything that we do, because at the end of the day, I'm at work. And so in any way I can involve my family, I try to do that. And again, this is my hometown. I grew up here. I love this community. I love the people. Yeah, there you go. I love the people here. And because of that, I just... I'm able to take care and treat a lot of folks through my office. But again, as I mentioned earlier, there's just a lot of folks that just don't have the resources to have all their dental care taken care of. Something of note, Murfreesboro and Rutherford County has grown to the point where we have actually, UT has put medical residency training programs at our hospital. Which is great because now you have students, 24 of them actually, that have come to this community to get their medical education. Now, why do I bring that up? Well, they go into inner city Murfreesboro through the St. Louis Clinic. And in talking with Chris...
What is that? Because I don't know anything about that.
Yeah,
So.
St. Louis Clinic is an outreach of St. Thomas Rutherford that helps take care of folks within our community who just don't have the resources to get adequate medical care. Maybe they don't have insurance, they're out of a job, whatever the reason. That's a clinic they can go to get basic medical care. And so what we found is they weren't getting any dental care. Now there's an interfaith dental clinic that meets a segment of people, but there really wasn't anybody available to help take care of these folks on the dental end.
You're involved in this?
To a degree, what we're trying to do is we're trying to partner with them to help them with their dental needs. And so what we've done is we do, it's called Dental Day. We had our first dental day this past November. And so what the St. Louis Clinic did is they screened the patients medically. If a person's really, really sick, obviously their medical needs are going to trump their dental needs. And we've partnered with some local dentists to get them screened dentally. And actually on that day, we actually take some teeth out. And so it was really good. Our first one was in November.
Is this something you guys aren't getting? Are you getting subsidized to do this? So this is just a give back.
Yeah, this is
just a give back. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned earlier something about going to another country.
Going to Haiti, yeah.
Haiti.
Yeah. Long story short, we've been able to connect with some folks through Haiti, and obviously, if anyone knows anything about Haiti, that's when the earthquake occurred. It's just what's happening there is pretty bad. So they have nothing, and so we've been able to kind of partner with a local Haitian on the ground, and there's some medical services, and they also don't have any dental services. Mm-hmm. And so what we'd like to do is to be able to go to Haiti. I'm actually leaving next week to go there. And see what the groundwork is like there. But we'd like for some of the Haitian people to come here to get trained dentally to go back to their home country to take care of their local people. So that's part of kind of what we're doing.
Now, there's a reason why you're doing this. So if I were to ask you, why is your big why that you're going overseas to do this? Mm-hmm. There's got to be a bigger reason why you're doing this.
Yeah, well, one of my mentors, one of the people that's really spoke highly in my life, Josh McLeod's his name, good friend of mine. He, as a Christian, as a believer, we're called to reach out to Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, and the ends of the earth. Mm-hmm. Now, what does that mean for us here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee? Well, I think you obviously want to do what you can, but I think you're always just looking for opportunities, because when it comes to people that are in need, that can't just write a check or don't have insurance, those people need help. And so being able to help Murfreesboro, to help Tennessee, greater Nashville, and then have opportunities overseas, I think it just gives us a big picture that when I say I'm having a bad day, my day's not so bad when you go to Haiti. Mm-hmm. Their days are really bad. They're looking for food. They're looking for shelter, just to be protected. So I think it just gives me and my staff and the people that are going to go down there, it gives us perspective.
Have you guys ever done anything like this before?
I have. I've been to Mexico a couple times, but nothing to this scale. We really want to incorporate this. We talk a lot in our practice about vision, mission, values. Our mission really is to, just take care of the people that are brought across our path. And some of them will be through our office, through mm-hmm. our practice. Some of them will be through the St. Louis Clinic. Mm-hmm. And some of them will be the folks in Haiti. Now, we're not going to solve all these problems, but I think you just make yourself available. And so anyway, that's what we're trying to do.
Vision, mission.
Values.
Is that how? Do you have like core values for your company? Is that what
we do?
Would be?
I know you're going. I can't quote verbatim, but basically, it's compassion, availability, and excellence. Is kind of our three pillars that we work off of. And obviously, I think everyone wants to some degree to be compassionate. Mm-hmm. But what that looks like is through availability, being available before 8, after 5, mm-hmm. on weekends. It's great to say I'm available, but if your processes and your systems don't lead to mm-hmm. that, then are you really available?
So you've made a commitment to superior service and convenience mm-hmm. for people. So tell us more about your personal life. What are things that are very important to you? Just when we're talking about the guy.
Yeah.
Dr. Hardison. What are things? I mean, he obviously doesn't take care of himself. He probably never runs or does anything. So what are things that are very, like the things that give you balance? I know you got to have your family, your work, and you're obviously a huge believer. But what are the things that, to make your day successful, what are the things on day in, day out purposes that you need in your life? I see you in the gym a lot.
Yeah, I do see you in the gym a lot. Again, that's right. You see a lot through what you're grown up with, and mm-hmm. I always saw my dad. My dad's a huge and has been a huge influence in my life as far as who I am, why I do the things I do. Dad was always a real big fitness guy. Mm-hmm. We would wake up on Saturday mornings. I was kind of one of those, they didn't call it ADD back in the day, but I was waking up at 4 a.m. and never went to bed and just high energy. And mm-hmm. so his philosophy was, if you're going to wake me up at 4 a.m, I'm going to drag your little tail out of bed. We're going to put shoes on and you're going to go run. So we would go from Bowling Green, Kentucky to Huntsville, Alabama, and all points in between, running these little races on the weekend. Yeah, we do 5Ks, 10Ks. So fitness has always been a huge part of my life. I've done the Boston Marathon. That was a big thing.
When did you do that?
2008.
2008.
Yeah.
What was that experience like? What's been your coolest experience at a marathon? That's got to be up there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think any runner, especially a distance runner, would say, to do Boston is one of those checklist things because you have to actually qualify.
I was about to get into the qualifications.
Yeah, you have to.
What did you have to do to qualify to get into that?
I had to do 3:15 was my qualifying time, and
what does that break down to per mile? Is
It's-
that faster than 10-minute miles?
Just a little bit. I want to say it was like 7:28 or something like that. So it was. I had to do that, and I actually did it at Country Music. I did it here in Nashville.
What was your time there?
It was 3:13.
Barely made it.
Yeah.
You nervous?
Well, yeah, I was a little bit, but I mean, really, you're doing a marathon. I knew that if I could get to mile 20 in 2 hours and 40 minutes, I could run the last 10K in 50 minutes. That was my philosophy. That's what I thought, and it worked out.
So was that your first marathon, the Boston? Or
No. Well,
I mean, was it your first big one? I'm sorry.
I'd say so. I've done the ones I've done Country Music 3 times. I did a marathon in Birmingham, and then I did Boston. So I've done 5.
5.
Yeah.
Have you done any since then?
No, Boston was it.
Funny.
Yeah, that's right. Well, with kids, when you're trying to marathon train, you're gone a lot, and so it's just hard to do. So I put my energy in other things. I'm doing some trail running. I do kind of the Ragnar Relay, which is kind of a team event.
Right.
Actually, I did. Shane and I've done some running together. So Shane Reeves. Yeah. So. So that's kind of what I do in my spare
time. What are you
time.
doing right now for your health? Because you look like you're in great shape.
Well, again, it's I guess when you hit 45, fitness kind of takes on a whole new meaning. I don't know that winning my age group or doing a lot of those things is as important as it was.
Have you done that before? Have you ever won your age group?
Yeah, running. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You have?
Oh, yeah.
Why don't we know about that? We need to know. Come on, brag about yourself. What'd you do?
Well, just with these local races, I mean, somebody's got to win. So, I would win some of them. I didn't win all of them, but that was sort of my driving influence.
What's your fastest marathon time?
3:13. That was it.
The Country Music?
Mm-hmm. That was the fastest one.
So if you were to go run a 5K, how fast could you run that?
Oh, gosh. Today, I could probably do a 5K 21 minutes.
21 minutes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
really?
that's
at 40, you're 45?
45, yeah.
Are you in the best shape of your life right now?
I would say I'm in good shape. I feel comfortable where I am. A lot of the fitness I do now is a lot of cross-training type stuff, just trying to stay overall fit. So running is not the only thing I do, but I enjoy running just from the mental aspect.
Well, this is going into all new line of questions for me because I'm 42. I know I look a lot younger than that. But over the holidays, man, I feel like I've gotten so fat. I've eaten so bad. Yeah. Do you think people can get into their 50s and 60s and sustain a great level of
absolutely.
Fitness?
Yeah, and I'm not even the bar for that whole thing. I mean, there's people out there like David Jones and Phil Young and just a lot of people that are out there that are great at what they do and that are older than me. But I think fitness is just sort of a lifestyle. You can't just do one component of it. It's got to be the workout. It's got to be your diet. Diet is huge. We way too much sugar, way too much fat. You can't go work out and then go eat a cheeseburger and expect to stay fit. So.
Well, one of the last questions I'm going to wrap up with, and I probably should have asked this sooner, but you're very successful in a lot of different avenues of your life. Could you break down like what your normal day looks like from the start to the? I'd like to know that. Time you wake up to the time you go to bed.
Yeah, I read something the other day that said that 90% of what we do in a day is habit. So there's really only about 10% that you're kind of going, well,
right.
What am I going to do here, roughly? And so, I think if we can establish good habits, that makes for a better day. I usually start up, I wake up, if I can exercise in the morning, I do. And I usually have just kind of quiet time to myself, maybe read the Bible a little bit. That kind of gets things rolling. And then I come into work, usually have a meeting or two with one of my girls, kind of look at the schedule, see what the day looks like. plan for the day, and then it's just, the chaos of the day.
How many people a day do you see?
Well, again, there's 3 of us. So in our practice, golly, we're pretty solidly booked from beginning to the end of the day. I don't know. I see maybe 15 to 20 people a day.
15 to 20 people a day. So that's 15.
Now, and some of those are post-ops, some are consults, some are
but
procedures.
It's still going bam, 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 bam. So after all that, your battery, you woke up, we're at 100% and it's gradually coming down. So by the time after work, you're going home 7:30?
Yeah, if I don't work out in the morning, I will work out in the afternoon. And it's great because where our office is located, I can just put on my running shoes. I can hit the greenway. There's lots of good running trails. The battlefield's close by. So I can get in a good 30-minute workout and it not just detach me from my family. So,
So you get home by 8 o'clock?
Oh, no, I get before 8. Usually I'm home, I try to get home between 6 and 6:30. And then I eat dinner with my family, and then it's just family time.
Family time.
Yeah, I check out at that point, unless I'm on call for our office or for the emergency room, and then I, still have to be available for that.
Okay. Well, here, my last question, and this is kind of what I try to ask everyone, is what are your beliefs on obtaining success, like mentors, reading? What are some of the things that you believe in people need to do to make their life more successful?
In 10 years from now, the person we're going to be is defined by 2 things. One is the books we read and the people we associate with. And so on that level, I always try to have a just sort of a spiritual book that I read. I have an educational book that I'm reading, and then I'll have a sorry, my phone's buzzing here.
That's fine. Are you going to answer right on the
No,
TV?
no, I won't do that. But I'm a one-track mind guy. I'm like, this is buzzing. I can't think
We're very
of it.
conversational around here.
That's right. That's right. I'm just being real. So I'll do a religious book, an educational book, a business book, and then I'll do one just for fun.
Now, do you know about how many books a year you read?
I try to do at least 1 to 2 books a month, if I can. And I have some seasons that I'm better at reading and others that I'm not. And usually I read before I go to bed at night.
So about 20 books a year is what you read. So all of our people out there that are in the self-improvement movement, we need to be reading more. I'm a big believer in reading, and it probably doesn't matter what you're really reading as long as it's not something that's going to curse you. It's something that's bad. So anything else? I guess your father was that your biggest mentor?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and as far as mentors, just having people in my life that I respect. And I think the key thing to a mentor is actually listening. And that was some advice that was given to me. It's like, if you're going to go to an individual, not necessarily my dad, but if I were to pick any significant person in the community, you could pick any number of people, sit and just listen, because they're successful because they've weathered the storms. They've made the mistakes. And so I just go, hey, I'm a small business guy. I want to be always constantly improving. If I'm never not growing or improving, then at that point it's probably time for me to go do something else. So I just try to listen. Okay.
Is there any other thing that you would like to add that maybe we haven't covered that would be important to you?
No, not really. I mean, you've asked all the good questions. I just, again, I'm just glad that you invited me on the show, and I appreciate you having me here.
Now, what we'll do is we do upload our, Sean's taught me this, we upload the show to our social media platforms, and we're going to try to get a more engaged audience. So if anyone out there has any questions, I would like to reach out to you so I can answer the question for you, or we may tag and you can answer the question. So,
that's great.
Guys, thank you for tuning in. Look forward to speaking with you next month. Have a great day.